Hey Poppy, it is Wednesday, May 24th, and this is Who's to Say. So we're talking about TV. My favorite. I think I'm jinxing myself here, but so far I haven't really had to deal with many cancellations from this cycle. The two were Pitch and Sweet Vicious. You mentioned that you wanted my perspective because I work in the industry. And it's kind of the same as it was before I worked in the industry, which is that it sucks when shows get canceled. But as ever, I hear our friend Kate's voice in my head saying, it's a business decision, because obviously these shows exist to make money, and they weren't making enough money, and they weren't getting enough viewers, and I think it's such a hard way to judge whether a show is worth keeping on air just based on viewers, because this might get pedantic, but the way that we count viewers is a very flawed system. Obviously we have Nielsen families, which keep these logs and they track everything that they watch, but that doesn't really capture everything, doesn't really get streaming information, and most people like our age aren't necessarily watching TV live at night, so it's just really difficult to collect all of this information, and then you're dealing with the struggles of like Netflix doesn't release the numbers of how many people are streaming their shows. So there's all of this data that you can't really look at, and so there's no cohesive view, so it's hard to gauge what deserves to be kept and what deserves to be cut. And then there's all of these like social media campaigns to keep shows alive, but as you and I both know, a social media presence for an audience is so small and not representative of the whole viewership that you have to take it with a grain of salt. So just because fans really love a show and are very vocal about saving it doesn't mean that there will be enough people to tune back in to watch it and keep it alive. And that's another problem with like saving shows, is that there's no way to guarantee that you can get that audience growth from season 1 that was canceled to season 2. Like if it comes back, are people going to tune in? Are they going to catch up and watch the new season? So there's a lot of issues. I don't know. And that kind of leads me to my next point of, it's really hard to watch TV. Some shows, and this is probably my biggest pet peeve, just don't put their content online. You can't find it to stream it anywhere. Or if you can, they only keep like 3 or 5 episodes up at a time, and that's not always enough time for me to catch up and watch them all, and then I can't see the rest of the season because I'm a completionist and I like to see every episode of a show. So that really loses me as a viewer. If I can't watch a show week to week, even if I want to, my viewing numbers aren't going to be there, and I'm not counting for the show no matter how vocal I am online. It doesn't matter because I'm not watching the TV, and advertisers don't get to count me as someone who saw their ads and want to continue funding like their endeavor. Corporations suck, they rule America, yada yada yada. So TV is a business, and that sucks because sometimes it feels like, or maybe it actually is, in direct conflict with art. I don't know your feelings on is television art. I think it can be. It's not all art, but that's a discussion for another time. Which brings me to Netflix. I love you. You create amazing content. But can you like chill out for 1 second? I cannot keep up with all of the content you're throwing at me, let alone all of the other networks. I know that's probably your point. You're like, oh, if we keep inundating Molly's feed with new TV shows, she won't have time to watch competitors, which true, but I also don't have time to watch all of yours. So figure your shit out, Netflix. I love you, but come on, man, you're killing me. Poppy, you talked about how it's nice when shows end after they're given their due, or, you know, when they're really awful and everyone just does us a favor and kills them. I agree with you. I think it's nice when shows have time to come to like a natural end. The 4th season is a sweet spot for a show. I think it's usually like one of the best seasons. So if shows could end at like 5 or 6 seasons, that'd be great. Like 7 is pushing it sometimes. So just keep it under 7. After that, sometimes you're really phoning it in. For someone who keeps a list of all of the shows they're watching, I sure can't seem to remember what my plan is for the night. So I'm gonna go. This has been fun. and frustrating, but such is life. So yeah, have a good week, Poppy. I hope you watch some good TV. Bye! Like, can you Netflix maybe just like wait until like the summer? Because that would help a girl out. Let all of the shows end for the spring season and then trot out all of your shows like week by week. But you're dropping like 5 shows every Friday and I just can't keep up with demand. There's like 450 something scripted shows out in the world right now, just in America, and like I'm trying to watch like 300 of them. So if everyone could get together and figure out a system, it's like in middle school when all of your teachers for the first time weren't communicating about homework assignments and you suddenly had like 8 papers due for every class. It's like that. Can you all like talk to one another and figure your shit out so that like I only have like 1 English paper and like 2 math sheets, and like just stack it so I can work through all of you instead of just dying under my queue, because that would be great.